I know yesterday we interacted with most leaders and associates who have been there in the 60s, in the 70s. And sometimes some of us may ask, when we don't have a younger people who are leading, then this morning we present to us an opportunity to interact with some of the people who are making impact in their spheres of influence, but also to let you know that actually in your age, and as Dr. Wadhanga mentioned last evening, we are certainly the leaders of today and also looking into the future. So my name is Francis Wachira. Wherever the voice is coming from, I just graduated the other day from Masinde Muliro University of Science and Technology, 2015, 4th of December. And I also graduated from Daystar University, Master of Communication. And I am a communications professional. Much more details about me are in your booklets, page number 18. I'm also privileged to be hosting a panel of 2 this morning. We were supposed to be 3, but one of us would not make it. Nevertheless, we'll be proceeding on. And so it's my pleasure, and I know we are going to be reading more about them on page 19 in your booklets. But it's also good to hear from the horse's mouth. So it's my pleasure to first invite the first panelist, Mr. James Muturi. Karibu sana. Let's give a hand of applause as he comes up. Karibu sana. Let's take a seat next to me here. James is a finance professional. I was just joking, Karibu sana, just have a seat here. I was just joking with him earlier this morning that when he introduces himself, he should add the phrase, I went to Alliance. Because he certainly did. Hata mimi nilienda Alliance to visit a teacher. We are also privileged to have a member of County Assembly from the great county of Meru. I told him I have interest in Meru County because that's where my wife comes from. His name is Honorable Jim Muchoi. Karibu sana. Appreciate him as he comes up on stage. Watu wameokoka pia wanakuwa ma-MCA. Na watakuwa governors in Jesus' name. Karibu sana. As we move on with the panel, I would also wish to give us an opportunity to ask questions, and this is how we are going to do it. Upande huu wa studio, we have the focus line, 0723 412 412. I'm sure that's an easy number to remember. 0723 412 412. Feel free to share your questions strictly on WhatsApp, and I'll be sharing with the panelists at some point. Feel free to share your questions. There might be many, so I may not be able to pick all of them, but kindly feel encouraged to share some of your questions so that we engage the panelists on the same. So, karibuni sana. The first thing, I'll start with you, Mheshimiwa, just to introduce yourself and what you do. At least they hear from the horse's mouth. Karibu.
Asante Wachira. Bwana Yesu asifiwe. Good morning. Yeah, my name is Jim Muchui. Wachira, since that I say what I do, I am a member of the County Assembly of Meru, representing a ward called Adwana in Meru, and I'm also the majority whip in the County Assembly of Meru. I was elected on a UDA ticket. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So just before I leave you, tell us what a majority whip does, apart from whipping people.
Yeah, the position of majority whip is a prefect. Actually, it's more of a prefect. Just to whip people when they are. I'm the one who mobilizes. When we have we have a sitting, we need a quorum, or when there are disciplinary measures that needs to be made.
Why are you laughing? Right.
Yeah, so that's all about the majority.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Asante. Over to you, James.
Good morning, everyone. God is good
All the time.
And all the time. Wow. My name is James Muturi, and I'm really honored to sit here this morning. I work in finance. I will say my title. I'm the finance business partner for Mask East Africa. So as a finance business partner, what I do is really performance management for the Mask business within East Africa. Mask is a company that does shipping and logistics, and that's where I am serving.
Sure, thank you so much. Were you at some point students in the university? Maybe it's important to hear. And also in the CU. Let me start with you.
Yes, I was at University of Nairobi. It's actually we were asking. We met with Jim this morning, and we were wondering whether it's coincidence, because we are actually in the same CU, and at one point I think, did we serve together? I can't remember that. But I served. I was at the University of Nairobi, and I was at main campus Christian Union. I was there for a camp. Oh, you guys are waiting to hear that, eh? Yeah, and I served as the second vice chairperson. I think the name is Anko. And yeah, so that's my bit with campus.
Yeah, I was also in the University of Nairobi main campus. And I served in the main campus Christian Union. That is, you call it Msusu, MCCU. And yeah, in my first year I served in the missions committee. Then the second year I served in the Sunday service committee. Then in my third year I served as in the executive committee as the Sunday service coordinator. Yeah, we are the ones who introduced the Sunday school in MCCU. I think it should be the only Christian Union that has a Sunday school. No. No. Okay.
Sisi kama watu wa Kakamega, we feel offended. All right. Thank you so much for that. So let me pick up from there and back to you, Jim. Many seated in this room would be wondering, what does it take to become a member of County Assembly? Please describe to us this journey.
Yeah, thank you, Washira. And I must say that it's something that comes out of maybe goodwill to help people, and maybe to go back a little. I must say that it's a journey, and not only to become a member of the County Assembly, but any leadership role, especially in politics, is really a journey that's not easy. But I must appreciate that the foundations that come before maybe you get there are critical. I must appreciate the role the Christian Union and the focus played in my life. And I have to say this: one of the most critical moments in my life was Commission 2011. I attended the Commission 2011. I was in first year then, and I was really inspired. I attended almost all the leadership sessions or plenaries. Again, I come from a very unique ward. I come from Meru, but in a ward that borders Isiolo. Actually, the 80% of Isiolo airport is in my ward. So I come from the lowest part, which is really marginalized. And now, as I grow up, we kwetu ni uko mwisho kabisa. And we have a lot of problems. And they are the ones that really kept pushing me. So in 2013, while I was in second year, I participated actively in politics. Actually, I missed some exams in 2013 because I really wanted to see a change. So I supported the person who was vying then for MCO. She was a lady. And after supporting her in 2013, she didn't do very well as I expected. So in 2017, I looked at the people who are vying. Actually, there were two competitors. And I tried to see whom I can vote between the two. So nikaona hakuna mwenye naweza pigia kura kwao because I really wanted a change in my community. So I was actually forced to run in 2017. I left campus, went there and ran and contested for MCA on my Maendeleo Chap Chap ticket. And I lost with 111 votes in 2017. And personally, I was happy. Actually, I didn't expect to get there because I was pointless. I was just a student from university. I got a lot of goodwill from people. And so I went to do other business, but I kept in touch. We have done a lot of things, trying to help people there, to advocate, and many other things. So let me say it has taken persistence. And to get there, I would say it's God's grace. And also that passion just to help people to attend to their needs, even when you have very little at your disposal. Yeah, thank you.
Sure, thank you so much. So just before I move on, are there some people who supported you towards appreciating that actually this is the right path that you should be pursuing?
Yeah, there are people who really believed in me. And also there are people also who really come and tell you, you are making a wrong decision. And someone would come and ask you, do you really know what you are going to do? Because getting in politics is not easy. It's not really easy. Because one of the things, when you get to politics, one of the things that I've seen, unless you're very competent in your area, sometimes you can become unemployable. You can contest, go lose. Because I have realized that not many people want to employ politicians. So someone will come and tell you, no, you know what you are getting. Many people will be coming to your homestead every morning, all this and that and that. But also, there are other people who will really come and stand with you, believe in you, finance in you. And I've also received a lot of support from my Christian brothers. Actually, the people who have supported me are people in the faith. They have given me a lot of money. Like in 2017 and the election that we just concluded, I was really supported by the people, and especially the church. When you let those people understand you and understand what you stand for, and they will always stand with you. But also there are discouragement. I remember when in 2017, when I wanted to vie, Amze, who was very close to my dad. My dad passed on in 1992 when I was in class 3. So Amze was very close to that, then invited me to his home and told me, you know, you will not win this thing. You'll not win this thing. So you just stop and support the other candidate. But I told him, for me, I just wanted to make a voice for some people. And through my candidature, actually, in 2017, even if I lost, I think my people benefited a lot. Because this is an area that, in history, actually in that my ward has 2 locations. And in that location, I was the first one ever to contest. So when I contested, even when it comes to allocating of resources and all that, the people who have been, who had been previously allocating resources in a biased manner, they knew that there is someone here, and now these people have someone who can rise and raise a voice for them. So we really benefited in the last 5 years, and we associated to my candidature.
Thank you very much. James, over to you. So your background is electrical engineering, power option, if I'm not wrong. Then you ventured into finance. How has how was the transition, and how has that journey been?
That's a good question. So when I finished campus, I was very passionate, and I'm still passionate about what I had been taught. But there was a world I later on came to realize. One time I was listening to analysis of the budget, I think around 2015. And the budget was being analyzed, and then there was a panel that was being, I think it was on KTN, and there was a panel that was being interviewed. And amongst the panel were partners from Deloitte. Yeah. So at the time, I had not really appreciated that there are other entities that are there in the country, and there's a particular type of job they do. And I was listening to the partners in Deloitte, and they were giving this talk and analyzing the budget and all that. And at the time, Polycarp Igathe, I know you guys know him. He was, I think at the time, the MD for Vivo Energy, and he was part of the panel. And there is one thing that he said that really transformed me. He said, I think there was a conversation about jobs and graduates and all that, and then Polycarp Igathe says, a degree is not a license to the dinner table. He says a degree is not a ticket to the dinner table. It is a license to hunt. That statement is the statement that really transformed me. And I started looking at, what the panelists are talking about and on all these things, and I became interested in the world of management consulting. So I had finished campus, and I was, really trying to find my footing in life. And then an opportunity with PwC came up, PricewaterhouseCoopers, and that's where I joined. And if I may just give a bit of that story as to how I came in. So when I first joined, I felt as if I was not qualified enough because my background was in something that, the field did not, was not very common in that field. So majority of the people who end up there are guys who've done actuarial science and business-related subjects and all that. But when I got into the panel, I realized what was being asked of me is more of the experiences that I had taken. So I remember one question which has always stuck to me till date, and I really credit the sort of growth that I had through the Christian Union for this. I was asked, have you been in a situation where you've had to change your communication for the sake of your audience? Yeah? So I am fresh from campus. I'm in a PwC panel. There is this lady called Emily Ansel. In fact, I'm even starting to get worried that we might not communicate because she's a Mzungu and I'm Kenyan, right? So I'm starting to think, should I think through my English and all that? And then she asked me that question. And my mind remembered a mission we had gone to in somewhere near Kangundo, and it was one that I had organized with some of my friends, one of whom actually used to be a focus staff. And I remember when we went for that mission, we went to a school, and the school had children who had gone through very many challenges in life, and we had not known this prior to getting there. So when we got there, the teacher called us aside and told us that this is the state of the children in our school. And for us, as we were going there, we were going there, with a lot of fire, with a lot of passion, and it's going to heaven vertically with no horizontal interaction sort of approach, yeah. And when we got there, and the teacher told us what she told us, we had to huddle together as a team and say, guys, we need to approach differently. We should not speak of fire and brimstone. Let us preach about a God of love. And I was in 50 at the time. Now, that is the example that then I borrowed upon to now tell my interviewer at the time that, yes, I have been in such a situation, and this was the circumstance that we were in, and this is how I was able to manage that circumstance, and we had to change our communication to fit our audience. And long story short, that's how I started out in finance, joined PwC, went on to Safaricom, and now I'm with Mask.
Watu muende missions. If the missions experience would really transform someone's career, really it's important. And I want again to remind you, and I can see some of your questions coming in. The number is 0723-412-412, and we are going to be asking them to the panelists. So as we transition and it's also important to mention that after PwC, you had another stint in a different organization. Which was that?
So there's a time I was at Power Techniques. and there's a time I did a bit of engineering, but majority of my time was spent between PwC, Safaricom, and Musk.
Thank you very much. So we come into the issue of courageous leadership, and back to you, Jim. And this I read online, and participants can confirm since it's on Google, covered by Nation Africa. And the title of the article was Majority Whip Jim Muchui disrupted House business on Tuesday to request the Assembly to discuss the drought situation. And you helped me appreciate this morning that actually this was your very first sitting, just coming in, and then voila, an issue about the people became urgent to you. What motivated you?
Yeah, thank you, Washira. As I said earlier, I come from a ward that was really hit by drought, and actually is right now. We have not experienced enough rainfall, and not only there, not only in the ward. I think most part of the country, as you realize, has been hit by the drought in the previous months, and I was really pressed by the issue, because now this was our first sitting in the assembly after we had been elected, and we were going on with the business as usual, and people were dying of hunger, and people, there were cries all over. There were issues of absentee parents in our villages, because now once there is drought, parents flee homes. They go to maybe to look for kibarua mahali so that they can be able to feed children and all that. So it was an issue really, and also it's like we were also to go for, we were going somewhere for the next 2 weeks for induction. So I felt that it was really an urgent matter to be addressed before we leave, to call upon the government to see what they could have done on the issue of the drought. So in our standing orders, it allows, in order number 34, it allows that a member, if there's an issue of our county importance, you can call to order with the support of some members and actually disrupt the house business so that you can discuss that issue. So on the issue we talked about, I disrupted the house business. We discussed the issue of hunger, and actually we got some very good response. We got a feeding program in the whole. Actually, like in my ward, the whole of the ward, we got a feeding program almost till they closed the school, and some other parts of the county as a response from the. So it was an issue that was really pressing me, and also having come from a background that was really hit by the.
Sure, thank you. And probably if you never raised the issue, the feeding program would not have happened.
Yeah, actually it was a response.
Okay.
It was a response by the national government.
Well done, and we can appreciate him for that as well. James, your experience in the telco sector, you're in a space in consumer business where you're making decisions. I don't know whether how many MBs one should get by spending 10 shillings or that, but it's a space where whatever decision you make affects the common mwananchi. How was that for you, and what was the impact?
Definitely being within, at the time when I was in consumer business, the funds that that were under my care was a lot, yeah. And just before I transitioned, we started something I know majority of you may have seen. There was a campaign called Pamoja Tuungane campaign, yeah? And the purpose of it was to, actually similar to what Jim has spoken about, was in really responding to the drought situation that we had in the country. And whilst resources are good, whenever there is a lot of resources, sometimes there is a lot of misuse. And one of the challenges that we had to handle at the time is that we had a lot. We went through a significant procurement process and bought a lot of food, which we would then transmit on to Marsabit County. And I realized at one point that there was a significant broken chain in terms of the value that the food we are transmitting is supposed to be bringing to the people. So one of the Safaricom is big on sponsorships, yeah, and although sometimes it's very difficult to patch through, but when a sponsorship comes through, it tends to be significantly funded, and part of the money I had was to finance that sponsorship. So when we engaged with NDMA, the National Disaster Management Authority, we engaged with some elements of the Red Cross, and we were able to take food to Marsabit. But I remember on one visit, we went to Marsabit town. I realized that we would leave the food, say, at the chief's camp. A lot of the press, the media would be there, yeah? So there would be a lot of photos that were taken and nice publicity, and we would leave. And I would ask the guys from foundation, so if food nani wanapewa? Then I will be told, NDMA will sort it out, yeah? And after 2-3 times, I started requesting for the NDMA reports because I needed to see what is the value of, who is getting this food. When I realized that it was not happening as it was supposed to, I took it upon myself to go to Marsabit again. So this time around, I decided, because I realized I only had to invest time, and I oversaw whatever was being distributed at the time in a village called Ulauli, and I camped there for 3 days. We called in the villagers, we gave out the food. Then later on is when I came to realize that whatever we used to leave at the chief's camp actually found its way into supermarkets and all that. So it was a bit difficult because this was food that was meant for drought relief. But I thank God for the little opportunity that he gave me to be able to drive the impact. So there's quite a lot in terms of the investment that the business was doing with regards to reaching out. And those are some of the challenges that we had, but God was gracious.
So part of your profession, you decided not to sit in Nairobi office but decided to go to the field to ensure that actually the food that is meant to be distributed to the people actually reaches to the people.
Yes, in finance, once you get used to it, it is easy to sit and click, yeah, and follow through the processes, and this is how something is supposed to be done, etc., and then sit and wait for the reports to come. Yeah. And between disbursement of funds and things being done, anything can happen in between. Yeah. And as I could have as well as accepted the reports as they were, without having, by virtue of, financial processes have been done, everything is right. I am receiving the reports from the guys from a government body that is supposed to be driving the sort of outcomes that we need to. But by virtue of my engagement, I realized that I cannot just sit pretty within the office whilst I know that the right thing is not being done. So definitely I had to go.
And it was not a small project as well.
Yeah.
How much was it?
The campaign was heavily funded. We at the time we were spending close to 500 million shillings on drought relief. Yeah.
All right. And there's also another budget you handled for $200 million. The 2.2 billion.
Yeah. Okay, these numbers are big. Yeah. Again, in my profession, just to shed some light, within strategic finance, sometimes one ends up having to oversee big budgets, and these budgets can be for from doing publicity work all the way to doing business acquisitions.
Sure.
And I think the biggest challenge, and this is something that people will get to see when we get into our professional world, is that money has a lot of interests, and it's something that is also very seen in the political sector, that where there is a lot of money, then a lot of interest gets generated. And of course, when one is in charge of a lot, then you also are out there in the limelight, and that's something that happened to me a lot. And every so often, I will find myself, even invited to things, invited to events, yeah. At one point, someone had audacity to come and ask me whether they should get me an iPad, because they think, it will make me work better and all that. So that we can be able to, facilitate, for example, allow me to look on the side whilst we do some approvals, etc. But yeah, so where there is a lot of money, of course, there is a lot of interest. Sure. But I thank God because for the period that we oversee the budget and looking to sort of looking towards the sort of outcomes that I was talking about, I ensured that there was really no compromise.
So you refused an iPad?
I had to.
iPad is sister iPhone, by the way, for those who are wondering what it is. And a budget of 2.2 billion. Actually, if you're given $1 billion and spend about, is it $1 million per day, you spend it over 87 years. So it's really not a small amount. Moving from a CU vice chair, handling offerings. Kwani offerings ni kidogo? Whatever you offer. So up to managing such huge budgets, and times people asking you to be compromised and still standing, and we'll be coming to the issue of disciplines just in a moment. But let me just get to Mheshimiwa once again. Someone by the name Helen Hayes said, everybody starts at the top and then has the problem of staying there. Everybody starts at the top and then has the problem of staying there. Lasting accomplishment, however, is still achieved through long, slow climb and self-discipline. Lasting accomplishment, however, is still achieved through a long, slow climb and self-disciplines. So are there disciplines that you have embraced and continue to embrace even at such a time where you're in the limelight? I'm sure when you get to your wards, you are recognized. And Jeshi Komta, you have to do something before you just go. There is the power that comes with it. Of course, there was a huge discussion about around Meru County, but there is power actually the MCAs do have. How have you cultivated in terms of practical things that you have done to maintain discipline as a leader?
Yeah, thank you, Washira. And I think especially in a political field, discipline is everything, especially as a Christian. And there are so many opportunities to compromise and to fall or to backslide. And I must say, you must be very, very, very disciplined. Sometimes you look very unpopular. And one of the questions that have been frequently asked in the political circles, everywhere when we are out, when we are doing some, maybe we are out maybe for some workshops and whatever, and the question you people when you get there you will find is that you will frequently be asked, na naulizangwa, na Jim wewe ulevi yako ni gani? Because people out there believe there must be ulevi wa kitu fulani. So people ask you, ulevi wako ni gani? And
what do you tell them?
Okay. At some point I tell them ulevi wangu ni Yesu. Yeah, or sometimes it's not a must that you answer every question around. But people wonder how you survive maybe without taking alcohol or doing some other funny things. Sometimes I sat with a senior politician from Meru, and he had some alcohol sometimes back. Na tukakaa, so I was taking some water, and he asked me, he told me, no, you don't drink? I told him, no, I'm a born-again Christian, I don't drink. He told me, I cannot trust you. I normally not trust people who don't drink alcohol, because now everything that we say here, after I'm drunk also, you So at some point you find that people are very uncomfortable with you, but you have to keep the discipline. And you have to get a very good support system. And let me say openly that I really appreciate that God gave me a very strong wife. A very strong wife. she was a prayer coordinator in the MCCU.
And he has his ring on, by the way.
Yeah, and she also served in the executive committee as the ASAP coordinator, still in the MCCU. And let me tell you people, the greatest thing that God can give you is a strong support system in a spouse. She keeps checking on me. She keeps every time checking on me. And you see, sometimes, not many times I'm in Meru, she's in Nairobi. I do business here in Nairobi. And every day, she knows the time that maybe I leave for the county assembly and all that. Have you prayed? Have you done your devotions? Have you? Yeah, so. Thank you. So I really appreciate her role in my life because it has really helped me. Sometimes I can receive a call, and then akisikia tu kitu, she's so interested to know what was that. I hope you are not about to compromise something. So it really keeps me going. Again, let me say in terms of discipline, God has also helped me. In the county assembly, we have, I happen to be in the county assembly with my CU chairman in high school. He was also elected. I also happened to be with our brother, whom we served with in the Christian Union in the MCCU, the MCA for what called Akedi, Rito Mwenda. Actually, he is the minority leader. We are in the leadership with him. And the three of us, every day we attend lunch hours. Just there's a church near the county assembly. Sometimes I think when we end the issue of the impeachment of the governor and the things were planned, you saw before we impeached the governor. Actually, we had a serious prayer session, and there was a worship song that was played. Some who watched, I think they saw. We had a 2-hour prayer session, and inside there, because we believed, okay, let me not go there. So what I'm saying is this: you need to, for you to be consistent in faith, especially in politics, you really need to have accountability partners. You need to have people who can call you out, actually, because there are so many. There are so many temptations. There are so many areas you can fall. So I chose deliberately to surround myself with the people who can call me out, people who can tell you the plain truth that you know you're going the wrong way, and also you yourself you make a determination and you let people know what you stand for, because the moment you let people know what you stand for, even before you get far, they will know your boundaries. So even in the county assembly, like the three of us, they know what not to involve us in. Even when they want to do their things, at some point they choose to do them. But also, God allows me because now, also my CU chair is the deputy minority leader. The CU chair, my CU chair in high school. So in a way, we have managed to influence the assembly from the leadership point in godly way. And I believe we in that way, if you surround yourself with the people who can really help you out and people who are of the faith, you can be able to stand.
Thank you very much. Yesterday I was seated with Elio Cheng, and he said if those people who got their wives from the CUs were not to go to heaven, most of us would miss. And I feel vindicated. My wife was also a prayer coordinator. And I was the STEM staff, by the way. You know when God calls you to do individualized mentorship, you proceed on to the house. But moving on to Mr. Moturi, there's a question that is coming from the audience, and I think it's quite interesting, and I'm going to read it as it is. So to Mr. Moturi, of late there are a lot of things that are happening in the world of business, or even finance automation, and these are things to do with Bitcoin, cryptocurrency. So what would be your advice to the young generation when it comes to internet trading?
Actually, this is the first time I'm not being told, oh, M-Pesa yangu imefanya, you know. So, for the sake of the audience, this is what I will say. Acquire knowledge. One of the challenges that have been there with regards especially to trading and operating in the money markets, etc., is that there is always a feel, or there is the general thought that it is a place where people easily and quickly make money, yeah? And then what is also happening is that through social media, you find very many individuals showcasing a particular lifestyle that is as an outcome of a particular engagement within the socials, within the financial space. Whilst if you look at what has happened globally, there is, and you guys can Google this, there is an ongoing trial of a guy called Sam Bankman by virtue of the collapse of actually FTX, which is an online, which is an exchange for cryptocurrency exchange. So what I would say is two things. One, please get knowledge. If you are interested in any area, please ensure that you get to know what happens in that area. You will not be shielded from the pitfalls by virtue of your faith. You have to get knowledge. Are we together? So make sure you do what? You read, understand. If you're interested in the stock market, understand the stock market. If you're interested in Forex trading, understand how Forex works. So that is one. But two, which is more critical, is as we engage in the, you know, in these types of investments, let us not go in with the mindset of getting rich quick. Yeah? Because that is 90% what informs such an engagement. There is the need to put in a shilling and get 1,000% or, you know, whichever percentage, you know, growth in your investment. Yeah? And so most of the time when I've seen, when people are engaging in trading, they go in with the mindset of getting rich quick, and that then blinds them to some of the pitfalls that are there in the trading. So the one thing to know is if it's too good, you think twice, right? And maybe finally, also as you look for information, there is also need to be aware that in any engagement, whoever is, so for example in trading, you will always be exposed to the good side of things, yeah? You'll always be exposed to how, for example, somebody, you know, is buying at a low rate and selling at a high rate and making margins. You are never really told about the many losses that happen, yeah? So as you engage, please get information, be informed, and be in it for the right reasons. Know that there is not a single quick rich investment. The only way you can get rich quick is by stealing, okay? And you guys cannot do that, yeah? Everything else requires hard work and requires a bit of investment in yourself.
Sure, thank you very much. Yeah, feel free to clap. So, a quick one before I come to Mweshimua, and someone is asking on how did you sustain your support base since 2017 to 2021, and what you can tell any youth interested in politics. But just before I come to you, someone is asking what qualifications did Deloitte and PwC, did PwC look at when they hired you as a finance professional? Are there any qualifications that you have taken in finance?
So when I was getting into my career, when I was starting out, and this is actually worked in my favor. what they were more interested in at the beginning is whether, or rather what such companies are interested in at the beginning is whether you are just the right fit. Yeah? So what was critical at the time is, have I been in a leadership scenario? I mean, I could go into the details, but I quoted being the vice chairperson of MCCU, how many members they were, and all those details. And so when I started off, the interest was, have I been in a position of influence? And why was this important? I joined management consulting. So those firms, PwC, Deloitte, KPMG, etc., they're in an industry called professional services. And what professional workers, people within the professional services do is work with business and industry leaders to solve some of the problems that exist at that level. So that means you should be able to have been, should be able to influence, you should be the right person. Yeah? The skills and the training come with the job. Of course, along the line, by virtue of then again that I got into finance, I did my ACCA qualifications and all that. But primarily, I started out with, am I the right fit? Can I be able to influence at senior leadership? And then when those boxes were checked, then the training came later on. So I got, the business would then train us in the very specific areas that they needed us to engage in.
Very important. And for some of you, my profile in terms of having been a CU chair, I've written in my profile I was a CEO of a Christian union. And I had a whole management of 12 people who were in charge of directorates, prayer, missions, treasurer, secretary, who had subcom members. Those are sub-departments. And I had a budget of, we managed 1.3 million in my year. And I'm able to quote this as an experience in leadership. This is to say that whatever your experience is, you can tailor make it for the role. Of course, maintaining integrity. So I ensure that whatever I put in my CV, I have done, and I can defend that point. But personal branding, no one will do it for you. You have to do it yourself, but again, seek support. So, Mheshimiwa, on the two questions I raised, how did you maintain your support base, and what can you tell a youth who is interested to join politics?
Yeah, thank you. First of all, let me say, as I said earlier, I lost in 2017 with 111 votes. I won in 6 polling stations out of 11. And okay, from 2017 to 2022, I was not employed. Because I told you, once you get in politics, sometimes it's people out there, most companies will not want to employ a politician unless you get a political office. And after 2017, my MP, who is a very close friend of mine, even today he is now serving his second term, he was also actually a preacher. He's a Methodist preacher. He's Dr. Mutunga. He approached me and he wanted me to be the CDF manager, the CDF, the consistent CDF manager. And I felt that it was not, okay, I did have a job then, but I felt it was not, I couldn't take the position because I felt that I had a responsibility to lobby from him and other government departments for my people, even though I was outside the office. So I felt that if I take the position, I will not be able to confront him on the issues because now I'll be his employees. So after consulting my circle and all that, we decided not to take up the job. And in those 5 years, I was in touch with people. I came and started doing some business in Nairobi, but still I maintained touch. The people who really supported me and the people that we worked with, I kept in touch with them, attending their functions. Every time there were issues that needed advocacy, I was there. And throughout the 5 years, I think I did in terms of advocacy, I did so much that I was more popular than I was that time. Because this time around, I won with 67%. And actually, I was competing against the majority leader. The person I was competing this 2022 was the majority leader in the Kratos government. And so it was not really easy, but because someone asked how I I happen to maintain the support base. What I will tell you is that many people will think every time you see a call from a resident or so, they want money from you or they want favors from you. Take that call. If you have got yourself in politics and maybe you lose like I lost, don't run away, don't disappear, or hate those people. Because what happens with some people is that when you lose an election, especially when you had a lot of expectations, you develop some level of maybe bitterness with the people, just feeling like these people didn't vote me for me. Then it's a democratic process that you must accept the results and the purpose to move forward, whatever the outcome. So I maintain the contact and be truthful. Whatever you feel, many of the things there, when you become a politician, you get exposed to is Arabese, church Arabese, children are going to school and all that. And what many people do is that they lie or they make false pledges. So I ended up a lot of money in the phase between 2017 and 2022. But maybe a pastor would call me, you know, Jim, I have an Arabe, and you need to come and support us. And I will tell them, no, this time around, I'm not doing well financially, but any time you have such, and I'll be in a position, I'll be able to support. So you see, you tell that person the truth, and they are relieved.
How about Jeshi? Jeshi, and a few people have asked this question, Ulichoma Jeshi. Some people need some money when you go to campaign. How was that experience?
Actually, many of us who come from the village, they know that many people campaign using alcohol. They brew a lot of local brews down there. I have never in my campaigns, both in 2017 and 2022, I don't remember buying anyone alcohol or doing those local brews. Although one thing you realize, politics, there are people who have a lot of passion in politics, and you realize that without even your knowledge, some people somewhere did some things for you that you maybe you'll know even after winning. Like in 2017, during the election day, I realized that some people in my location, they did a meeting. They organized now. There's some brew called Dome. I don't know whether. Yeah, I was very busy in the campaigns. But later, after the campaigns are over, you realize that people brewed some alcohol there for people to drink before they go to vote. So there are some things we really, during campaigns, you really have, because some people come and identify that you don't have maybe the finances and all that, and they'll take it upon themselves to do some things. But personally, I have never done that. What I have done with Jeshi, I have been so vocal in advocating for their issues. And actually, as we talk today in the morning, like Jeshi Yangu, the one you are talking about, there's a project that was starting at Karumo TTI. I have like 30 today who have been absorbed to work for 3 months in a local mjengo, something. So those people, even if you don't give them alcohol, someone will come and build them up and they still vote you in. Yeah, I have gotten also a factory in Kiambu that is starting. I'm getting some 15 cashews there. So such things, and that will always, and another thing that I've realized is that God has a way of rewarding you when you do things with a lot of genuine, with an intention to help. It will always come your way. So I was asked how I would tell a young leader interested in politics. Politics is a good place. It's not a guarantee that you have to compromise. You can stand your ground and survive. Secondly, don't go to politics with a lot of how do I call it? When you go to politics, let it not be a matter of life or death. Like I must win or win. Let it be just do it. Like if it is from your heart that you want really to help those people. Also, God is interested in seeing those people helped, right? So when you get there, take it as a God's work. Actually, as I was doing my campaigns, I was saying within myself that, God, you know my intentions. I really want to say I can make impact to these people. And if it is your will, then give me this chance to help these people. So if you get there and it doesn't happen, then you stand to lose nothing yourself, because your intentions was to help the people. You concentrate on other things and try to help in the capacity that will be, even in the least position. Yeah. So when you set out for politics, it is possible to make impact. It is possible not to compromise. Actually, it is possible to win and make some good progress and impact your people, and actually inspire more Christians to get into politics. What happens most of the times, I don't know whether I'm talking too much.
Just make that point.
What happens most of the times is that people really confound in politics, because people have asked me, what happens now when people get into politics, people who are very good, who are doing very well in the faith and all that. Sometimes you go that there and you lack accountability, because most of the people who surround you have got personal interest. And you have to make it very clear in your mind, very clear to the people around you that you're on a mission to impact people's life, and in the process, fulfill God's will for his people.
Sure. Thank you so much. My final question to each one of you, just before I give you a chance to make a parting shot. So the goal of this summit is to raise transformational, value-based leaders for, that's another leader in their space, who bring a godly impact wherever they are. So what can the student leaders here do to help them thrive as young leaders? So that's one. So what can they do to help them thrive as young leaders to enhance Christian influence in the institution of higher learning, church, and society? What can they do to enhance their influence where they are in campus, but also in church and the society? Let me start with you, James.
Thank you very much for that. I don't think that there is a silver bullet, that there is this one powerful thing, that can be done. But I would want probably to look at it in a different lens. So when you think about leadership and leadership with influence, several factors need to be in place that will then enable a young person be able to influence at the space that they are in, and be able to grow with that influence into the various callings that the Lord will call them to. So one of the things, and I'm sure you must have discussed them extensively as being part of this forum, and it is coming up in this conversation, is values. Yeah. So what can you do to keep influencing? You have to hold on to your values, what you believe in, your Christian faith, and the tenets of the faith that inform the person that you are. I believe that is fundamental to our identity as Christians first, and then to the calling that we have, right? Then the second thing that probably I would think beyond values is your abilities, focusing on growing your abilities. I remember being in the Christian Union, and one of the challenges that I used to face a lot, or rather I saw, is people declining leadership opportunities, and people saying no to being this leader and that leader. And at the time, now looking back, at the time, there was this blindness as to how that helps you self-develop as a person, That by virtue of engaging the way you are engaging, by virtue of, even by virtue of being in this forum and listening to people, all that sort of gets lost, So abilities, being able to grow, taking advantage of every opportunity that you have at this age. If you are called upon to lead, take it up, because at one point or the other, it teaches you something about you and about the people you lead that you would never have known had you not engaged. So those become very critical.
Sure. On that point of reading, I think someone mentioned we need to buy at least a book, invest in yourself. So what can the students do in their sphere to influence church, society, but also the institutions of higher learning?
Yeah, thank you. What I would say is that, and I will pick from where James left, I would say that where you have been given an opportunity to lead and lead passionately. Because I always tell people, In campus, I did a BA in economics and political science, the University of Nairobi. But I've never used it anywhere. Like, I've not, whatever I learned in class in the university, I haven't been able to use it anywhere in my life. But the kind of molding, the experiences that I got from the university, the trainings I got from Focus, Kenya, the leadership experience that I got from the Christian Union, all that I do, that forms the basis of what I do now, or what I've been able to do after campus. So the responsibility that you have in your CU, however small it is, that forms the basis of your leadership. And actually, the experiences that you get there might be the cornerstone of your leadership and whatever you will have to do in the rest of your life. And that's how I would tell you. So take it passionately. I remember when we were in the Christian Union, we used to wake up very early in the morning to go for Mahindi. Is it the... No, City Market. You have forgotten. Oh, it is Mudhurwa. Yes, Mudhurwa. We used to go for Mahindi ya kuchemsha Mudhurwa so that we can sell and have to do some things. Right now, from those experiences, I operate a supermarket in Kasarani, Antas. So, yeah, we used to, and we used to be very innovative on how to sell, how to. So the little responsibility that you have, it matters so much. Take it seriously, do it passionately, with a lot of honesty, with a lot of honesty, with a lot of integrity. Because also, I will also tell you, another thing I've realized in the public service, because I was the sub-accountant of communications in Machakos after campus, before I decided to go and vie in 2017. I will tell you, out there, both in private and public sector, there's a shortage of honest people. Actually, some firms will live to hire a person who is very competent, and hire someone who is averagely competent, but hire honesty. We are looking for honest people. If I had a company today, and I wanted to hire, I would actually go back. We have been deliberating with my wife. There's even sometimes we want them to look for a chair, Christian Union, and look for the outgoing CU executive, so that you can hire someone as a manager in our supermarket. Because we know where we can get honest people. So what I will tell you people, we have a problem of honest people. I have referred people for jobs. Actually, one of them, we served with them, the executive committee is working. And I think right now he is in Germany also. And I referred them on basis of honesty. Because we meet CEOs, they ask us, now, do you know someone who of high integrity who can help us in this thing? Actually, you will get jobs in the areas you do not study, in the areas not within your professional, because of honesty and integrity. And I'm telling you, it is discussed. I've been working with, as I told you, I'm very close with my MP. I have like 3, 4, 5 people that I've referred to him. They are working, not in their area of study, but because they're honest. And the ones I refer them, he comes back and says, bring another one. Give me another one. Like now, like some farm in Kikuyu, where that friend of mine that we served in the executive new act. I have found so many people because they keep asking me, where do you get these people? Where do you get these people? So you will go there. They want someone, a specialist in agriculture, but someone comes who maybe they have information that person is of high integrity and has honesty, and is honest, and they hire a person, maybe he has done procurement or other things, and then go to train them to do the things that would have done with agricultural experience. So what I would tell you, please, there's something we used to call small foxes, because I've also served with people in the Christian circles who are born again but have personality. So please, let's deal with those. We used to call them small foxes in the Christian Union. And those things can really cost you. So be honest. Out there, the world is looking for honest people. And don't be cheated about, you need... Okay, networks are good. Connections are good. But there are also some room out there that you have to corrupt to do this so that now you can get somewhere or whatever. Let me tell you, if you're really honest and you are of high integrity, you don't really need to do that kind of stuff. You only need an opportunity to prove yourself. When you prove yourself, people will keep referring to you. You will get promoted because everyone who has a business or those people in the private sector, they want someone that they can trust, and they believe that if they leave some responsibility to you, they'll be well executed with the utmost honesty, and you'll deliver good results. So if you want to influence, be competent in your area, sharpen your skills, and be honest. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And sorry, our time is up. Just to add, I am one who believes that there are no small things in life. Because when you think about the magnitude and the cost of those small things, you understand that their magnitude would be so big. So take care of everything to ensure that we are living right. So just 10 seconds each to make a final parting shot. Let me start with you, James.
Yeah. So maybe the last thing I would want to challenge us as we start, as we grow into this leadership, as we grow in our leadership, is to also say, whilst we've spoken about the various things we've spoken about, maybe my parting shot would be to say that. Let me quote it as a scripture. Jesus said, "I am sending you as sheep amongst wolves." Yeah. So you need to be as wise as, you need to be as humble as doves and as wise as serpents. Yeah. The environment that after all is said and done, that we will all be part of, will be a tough environment. And as Christian leaders, we have to put ourselves out there. Okay? Good things won't happen to you because you're a Christian. Are we together? Good things won't happen to you because you're a Christian. You have to put yourself out there. You have to go for the opportunity. You have to go for those interviews. You have to seek out for the opportunities that are out there. And once you get those opportunities, then you have to be patient enough to go through the process of learning. Yeah? I believe someone may have spoken to you guys about the importance of process, because again, you don't get to a particular spot quickly. You have to go through process. So that will be my parting shot. Sure. That as you grow in your leadership, when you see the opportunities, please go for them, but also be patient to go through the process.
Thank you very much. And Jim?
Thank you, Washira. What I would say is that my parting shot would be, as young leaders, and I will really insist on what I said earlier, that be passionate in what you're doing now. It will impact so much in your life. And at no point should you ever give in to the pressure to compromise. The moment you compromise, you're done. Because you operate on God's grace. And the moment you compromise, that favor leaves you. And you will have a lot of problems to try to maneuver yourself. So what I would say is that just like Meshach, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, when they were faced with those circumstances, and I would read from Daniel 3:18, where they say that even if he does it, that's meaning even if the God doesn't deliver them, let it be known to you, O king, that we are not going to bow to your gods or worship the golden image you have set up. The matters of earth is not really, some of these things you say, as a leader, you'll have to take some very bold decisions. Very bold decisions that may sound very unpopular at some point, but convince within yourself that what you're doing is right. Take up that decision, and it will form the basis of your next moves on how you're going to on how you are going to succeed in your leadership journey. Thank you.
Thank you very much. In my parting shot, God operates in seasons, in terms of this is where you are right now. In a moment you'll be out of campus. There will be another season of either employment or creating jobs. There is where God is going to place you. And God does not necessarily call Christian Union leaders for the sake of the Christian Union alone. There must be a preparation that he is doing. So wherever you are, I leave you with 3 words. Make your contribution. Tell your neighbor, make your contribution. And I leave you with this scripture, Micah 6:8. He has shown you almost of what is good. And what does the Lord require of you? To act justly and to love mercy and to walk humbly with your God. May God bless you. And
the Fellowship of Christian Unions, reaching students, changing nations.